My entire life has been a challenge trying to compete in your world, in the sighted world.
Bruce Hall has shot underwater photographs for 25 years, and part of it is to reclaim sections of the world that he was denied. His comment to me is, the only time I feel completely comfortable is actually underwater. So he'll not only go diving, a blind person diving, but go diving at night because it doesn't make any difference to him. Part of his shooting underwater is that he is comfortable, and therefore they have kind of an ethereal quality. They feel almost like paradise, many of these photographs. And they could come out of the pages of National Geographic. But in reality, he's shooting them so that eventually, on land, he can see what it was that was right in front of him.
Basically, I was born with an optic nerve that never fully developed. So the connection between my eyes to my brain, I don't get the information that you would get or someone with normal sight. I had doctors tell me that if I had your eyesight, I couldn't get out of the house. But because you've grown up with it, you've adapted. You use the 5% of normal eyesight that you have better than anyone they've seen. And it's like, what choice do you have? You're a little kid, you go out and play and you figure it out. The thing that's important to me for people to understand is how hard I work to do what I do. I was born this way. I've never been able to drive a car. I can barely read without magnification. In fact, a lot of things I do now, I use a screen reader. I use cameras to see. You know, just like any photographer uses optics to see, I have to use them. I need them.
Bruce Hall has an amazing, relatively new project where he is shooting his two twin sons who are autistic. What's really interesting to me is that those images combined kind of two levels of chaos and disorder. They combine a photographer who can't see shooting a subject that is essentially out of control. His sons are wonderful, but they don't talk to you. You can't say stop and smile. They are in continuous motion. So this is photography that is sort of like American street photography, aims at capturing fast-moving collisions that are out of control. And they end up capturing something about autism itself.
My twin sons, Jack and James, are profoundly autistic and have no speech. Functional life skills are very, very low. The photography helps me, I don't know, it's almost therapy. It helps me understand, accept, deal with, you know, the loss. I mean, as a father, it's like, this is the last thing in the world you ever expect to be told, that, you know, your boys basically have no future as a typical child. The water, autistic people, many autistic people love the water. I don't know the answer. They can't tell me. I have a list of questions to ask if either one of them ever speaks, which, you know, is doubtful at this point. I literally have 10,000 photos, and I'm narrowing down into, you know, what's meaningful to me. It will be a lifelong project. I was living in Laguna Beach, and I started beach diving. And I had a little studio apartment a couple blocks from Shaw's Cove, which is a popular dive spot. The things I saw underwater, I would try to describe to people, and it just, I couldn't really get it across. So I thought, I'm going to learn to take pictures. I got a little disc camera and a plastic housing, and the 1,000 pictures I took, 999 of them were awful. And then I got my first good underwater, for me, my first good underwater photo. And that was the day I knew I'm going to get serious about this. I photograph what works for me. Macro tends to be something I love to do. I have a light meter with a really big display, an underwater light meter, and I was able to start making good photographs. The camera that I use underwater is a digital Nikon camera. There are buttons and knobs. Everything is very tactile, and I literally memorize. There are probably 25 controls on the outside of the housing, and I memorize every single one of them. I have to. I do have a magnifier, and if there's something I really need to look at, I can get the magnifier out and get on top of it and see it. But it gets in the way of paying attention to what's going on around me. And then the diving is a whole nother aspect of this that you have to have down to a point where you can forget about it, and that's not easy to do. There are 100 fabulous underwater photographers that I can't compete with because of my eyesight. I never use the word vision. But it sort of takes me in different directions. I look for things. I'm always the guy with my face, as my friends say, your face is glued to the reef. They're off swimming around looking for big things. I'm getting up real close and looking for the tiny things that are out of reach. I see a color, I see a shape, I see this tiny little thing. I want to see this. Take a macro shot, a 1-to-1 or larger. Come home, blow it up, and it's like, wow. When I get home, it's always like seeing it for the first time. It's always a surprise. I love it. It's seeing twice. So the joy in actually seeing the result, and when it works, either in a large print or on a large computer monitor, and being able to see the detail, it's sheer joy. It allows me to see the world. And it's beyond happiness. I'm obsessed by it.